Hello and welcome to this review for SS Studio Series 86, Brawn. So he's from the third wave of a studio series for 2023. And in Canada, he's been released recently enough. And I wanted to do a quick review just because I have lots of comparisons. And the idea here is that we're getting to the point where we're getting the same character several times. So some collectors, if collectors don't have him yet, by all means, could get him. I'll go through emotions. You'll see. I think it's a good toy. But the thing is he worth getting if you already have others? And what I'll go through the review is it's more to compare with previous toys and scales and such. So we'll get through it. And yes, he comes with, one of my, I don't know if you call it a gripe or not, but something I think could have been improved is that while he does come with this famous scene where he's going to die, right? This is where Starscream comes out of, and the Decepticons, and he gets destroyed right away. He has nothing on him, so he can add these effects part that we had before, and I find it a bit too bad. So for our first comparison, so here we have him next to Ironhide. I have Ratchet because I don't have 86 Ratchet yet, and I'll bring Prowl out too. Now with Ratchet and Prowl being part of Siege, which did have these effects parts, they do have ports for those effects parts, while Ironhide and Brawn do not, since they came out after. And that idea was not, brought in. I'm assuming it's because while fans do buy this, it is also for kids too to pick up. And there's this whole idea that we've seen in the past with Iron Archer, where if you're going to come out with a line that has its own ecosystem, it should be able to, you should be able to buy accessories that go with that line too. And the characters that came with parts like this Target Masters are not out at the same time, so you don't have, you wouldn't have pieces that make it compatible with it. That's basically it. I don't know if I'm being clear or not, but these two do. So for example, here we got Prowl, can get shot, right? We can see it. Same for Ratchet. Alright, they get destroyed. But these guys we don't have you don't have a piece of put it in. But that's it. So that's the first comparison I want to show you. I'll bring them back up just so you see them. And then I'm going to compare with the previous Brawn figure. So that's that. I'm going to bring in the other Brawn we had in Titan's Return. I believe either Titan's Return or Power of the Primes, because they reuse, so I'm sorry if I'm getting it wrong. But it's one of those lines where we had this Brawn. And yes, he is much smaller. So when people are saying that we're getting, tiny toys that are the deluxes are now what Scouts were, this is still not that he's large, but this is still at least bigger than Core Class or Scout Class. Can't say the same for Cliffjumper though, so that I don't have an argument for you there. So if we have Cliffjumper, for instance, if you want to show him, see he's a mini-bot. And while he is a bit taller than the old Brawn, he is much shorter than this new one. So I'll show you them there. These are two tough guys. Now I don't have an opinion necessarily on scale. I think, well look, I prefer this guy over the other one. But in terms of what I'm recommending you do as you wish. I'm just showing you what it looked like. Now I'm not sure, I don't have a good recollection if this is the correct scale for, let's say if Cliffjumper is too small or Brawn too big in this case. But in the comparison with these toys here in that famous scene, I think he is the perfect size. Now I'm going to bring in Optimus too, if you want to see him compared to Optimus. This is the main Voyager Prime that we have these days. Right, came out in Earthrise. And if you want to see previous mini-bot sizes, I'll show you that too. Get these out of the way. So we've got this here, and the last one is this mold from the T30 line. The reason I'm showing them to you is because those are different scales for the mini bots ish. And as you can see, these actually, even though the head is very small here, these end up being the same size, so that price point hasn't actually changed much. It's just that figures like these, and we are getting a gear soon too, have moved up to the deluxe class, right? Of course, with a varying degrees of height, but still bigger than Core in terms of complexity, paint, and size as well, as you can see. So that's that. I'm going to take them out. Now we're going to stick with our friend Brawn here. Now, in terms of his looks, the one issue you could say if you're going to be nitpicky is that this here in the back is too high. When it comes to if it's to replicate the G1 toy, that's exactly what it is. Same length behind. However, in the show, this was the same height as his head. To me, it's not a big deal. I'm just pointing it out if you're curious, because especially since the Studio Series 86 line is all about screen accuracy. And I do appreciate that there is lots of paint here. So for example, what you see here in the back of his head is all painted. His head itself is painted. This here is painted. And any silver you see is also painted. And he does have painted windows. So like the clip jumper that I showed you before, right? So Hasbro learned their lessons, or at least I guess they did. But like to simulate the screen accuracy, they're going more with painted windows now. You'll see, however, that there is one missed spot in truck mode, which we'll get to. So in terms of accessories, he has 1.5, 2. So he has his gun right here, not much to write home about. And he has this tire that does come off. Put it back. I'm going to take the gun out because we're going to transform him soon, in case he wants to get a transformation as well. And I don't have more to say about the robot mode itself, except for one part that I do think would have been done better. Actually, there's two. Sorry, so I guess I do have gripes after all. There's two bits here in the back. This is not actually in a not necessarily stable position, but it doesn't lock in any way. So it could be meant to be like this. I'm assuming it's meant to be like this because it closes a gap right in the back. However, there's nothing actually locking it in. So this is the way it is in truck mode, and then you're going to bring it up, and then I guess you just close it like that a bit. There's nothing to tab it in necessarily. That's one thing I'm not too fond of. And also this here, this is the kind of figure, and we've seen this also with, I mean, not to this egregious to the egregious level that I'm going to mention the other figures with, but for example, MP Tracks or RID Sideswipe, the RID 2015 Sideswipe, where the shoulders are, like, if you're going to rotate them, they're actually connected to another piece. So what happens is that, let's say you do want to pose him with the gun, this part can be undone. There is something to stop it, or actually to plug it in, as you can see. However, it doesn't offer a ton of either friction, or it doesn't plug in perfectly. I mean, it's not meant to. You see, there's not much. It's all blurry. Sorry about that. There you go. It's not raised much. So that's it. There's just little things like that. This not too big of an issue. This I have more of an issue with if we're gonna compare it all. Now to transformation, very simple. There's one part I like a lot, but in general, it's not a revolutionary transformation. What I usually start with is the fist here to just bring them inside. You'll see, because it's painted, for the first time, this may be super tight, but it is meant to fold in all the way. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to turn the legs right away too. And I'm going to turn his head. Now, to get access to his head, you can go to the back and turn it. Oh yeah, about his head. I'm not going to go through the articulation. A lot of people have done it before. But I will say that his head is not there. It's not a universal joint. It's just a standard swivel. Oh, here's the back. I close it. Oh yeah, another thing is that the backpack, it being there and prominent, you see the inside is actually hollow. I mean, it's probably a budget thing, but there would have been a way. At least I know if there was a Masterpiece toy, they would definitely go out of their way to use up this emptiness, right? Okay. Now this will go down. This will go down. This is what I transform. I just everything that can be undone. Sorry, not yet. I just take it apart. So the legs all the way, right? Detach it all the way. Good. Now this is my favorite part of the whole transformation, is this bit. So in the cartoon, actually the front, and then the G1 toy as well, and even here, even Titan's Return, you see the grill is here on his head. So So that is animation accurate to a part. What I find really cool though here is that part of the car disappears. Why? Because it's actually here. So you rotate it, and I love the clearance. The clearance is just right. Like at first I was like, it can't possibly go through, but it did. Let's go on, there's the front of the car. Makes for cool detail. So yeah, now you put it back. So like this. Now here the best way I found to do it was that you angle it so, like that there's a lot of clearance for all the parts you're about to do. And now the arms, rotate them this way, and you just flip it. This ends up being flush. Same on the other side. Now you'll see that there's going to be, there's a hole here, and this will plug into it. Not just that, but there's another plug-in part where you have the hands which you have to rotate, and port, the hole is the port, and that's going to plug in, so everything plugs in together. Plugged in, perfect. Now, we're almost at the end. This, we got to collapse the feet. Do it on both sides. You have to collapse them well because while there is enough space, it's made exactly to fit. So you're going to fold that in. And same on the other side. So fold in, make sure the feet are in the right place. And there are tabs to plug into the holes on the side here. So what you get now, there are tabs here in the back. You see them? You don't see them. They're better. Tabs here, they plug into the holes that are on the fists. I realized I wasn't perfectly centered with my rotation of the waist. Then you bring this down, flips it down. And the last part is there is a panel here which you will flip down. And yes, this too has ports for the pegs, which are these. And those fit very well. I'm very happy with those. And this is Brawn in vehicle mode. I think vehicle mode is fine. My two issues with the vehicle mode. The first one is one we had here. Well, I do like the painted windows. This ends up being a glaring flaw. I mean, you can tell it's window that's not painted. Maybe it's because they don't want paint scratch, but I mean, not really, because I mean, this does. No, that's definitely not it, because nothing hits this part. No, it's just them finding a way to save a few bucks. So yeah, or I don't know who to repurpose the budget elsewhere on this figure. I don't know. And there is this bit that I find inelegant because it's, I don't know, not super great. But you don't see it too much, and you don't see the gap that you see there is not too prominent either. Overall, I think this is a very, very well done vehicle mode. So I don't really have much of an issue with the toy, aside from the back in robot mode. I'm happy I have my collection. I think he works better than the previous one, and this is just to show up to you, what you think is best. And hopefully this review showed that. Now, does he roll well? Oh yeah, wait, so another thing I want to show you is that what Hasbro's been doing recently is that, yes, while wheels are now no longer pinned, sometimes you have like a different looking wheels on different sides. So for example, you'll have the front pin, the back not. At least in this case, it's all uniform, and we do have painted rims, so that's fun. I'm gonna put them down. Rolls okay. Don't have too much of an issue. I don't know if that's much of an issue for you too. If he has to roll really, really well, he rolls fine. Yeah, so that's him. It's Brawn. Okay, so wish you all a great day, guys. Bye.